What if I told you America's greatest fear isn't China's rise, Russia's nukes, or even North Korea's threats, but a nation that's been crushed under sanctions for 40 years and only grew stronger? This is the untold story of Iran, the country that rewrote the rules of power. While empires fall and superpowers stagger, Iran did the impossible. It turned isolation into a weapon, sanctions into strength, and defiance into an art form. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why the U.S. would rather fight 100 wars than face the terrifying truth: Iran cannot be controlled. Picture this. It's 1979. The Shah flees. The Islamic Revolution erupts. And overnight, Iran becomes the first country in modern history to look the West in the eye and scream, "No more. No more puppet rulers. No more foreign dictates. No more surrendering their soul for a seat at the table." And that's when the panic began in Washington. Because the U.S. knows how to handle enemies with tanks, but an enemy that refuses to fear, that's a nightmare no amount of firepower can crush. Fast forward to today. While other nations beg for mercy under sanctions, Iran laughs. They built their own drones, their own missiles, their own nuclear program while cut off from the world. They turned the Strait of Hormuz, a tiny waterway, into a geopolitical detonator. One move, just one, and global oil prices explode. The U.S. parks fleets nearby. But here's the sick irony. Iran doesn't even need to pull the trigger. The threat alone is enough to send shivers through Wall Street. That's not just power. That's psychological warfare. But the real secret? Iran's invisible empire. Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, militias in Iraq and Syria. These aren't just allies. They're ideological clones. They share one creed: resist or die. And they're winning. In 2006, Hezbollah, a ragtag group with Iranian training, made Israel's invincible army retreat. In Yemen, the Houthis, starving, bombed, abandoned, still fire missiles that strike deep into Saudi Arabia. The U.S. spends billions on high-tech weapons, but Iran fights with something far more dangerous: unbreakable belief. And here's what keeps Washington awake at night. Iran isn't just a country, it's an idea that's spreading. What if the Muslim world wakes up? What if Palestine, Yemen, Lebanon, millions of the oppressed start imitating Iran's defiance? That's the ultimate horror for the U.S., a domino effect of resistance. No sanctions can stop it. No drones can kill it. Because when a nation would rather burn than bow, you realize you're the one who's powerless. So the next time you hear Iran threat on the news, remember this: the real danger isn't missiles or nukes. It's a people who've mastered the art of unbreakable resistance. And in a world built on control, that is the most terrifying force of all. Imagine a country so dangerous, so unstoppable, that the world's only superpower would rather pretend it doesn't exist than admit the truth. This is Iran, the nation that defies every rule, breaks every prediction, and stands taller the harder you try to crush it. You've been fed lies about Iran, that it's weak, isolated, on the brink of collapse. But open your eyes, because while other nations crumble under pressure, Iran doesn't just survive, it thrives. It doesn't just resist, it dominates. And today, you're going to see the raw, unfiltered truth about why the United States fears Iran more than any other nation on earth. Think about this for a second. How many countries can you name that have been under total economic siege for decades and came out stronger? None, except Iran. While the U.S. thought sanctions would bring Iran to its knees, something incredible happened. Iran stood up. It built its own weapons, its own technology, its own economy from the ground up. It turned isolation into independence, pressure into power, and defiance into an unstoppable force. That's not just resilience. That's a revolution. And Washington is terrified because they finally realize they can't break what they can't control. Iran spends something far more valuable: conviction. It doesn't just have soldiers, it has martyrs. It doesn't just have allies, it has believers. From the streets of Beirut to the mountains of Yemen, Iran's influence isn't just political, it's spiritual. And that's why no amount of sanctions, no amount of threats, no amount of propaganda can erase it. Because you can't kill an idea, especially when that idea is freedom. Now, here's the moment of truth. Why does the U.S. really fear Iran? It's not just about nukes or terrorism. It's about the example Iran sets. Because if one nation can stand up to the empire and win, others will follow. If Iran can survive, resist, and prosper despite everything, what's stopping every other oppressed nation from doing the same? That's the nightmare Washington can't escape. The fear that Iran isn't just a country, but a spark. And if that spark catches fire, the entire world order burns. So ask yourself, who's really the superpower here? The one with the biggest army, or the one that can't be broken? The one that rules by force, or the one that wins by will? The answer is clear. Iran has already won the psychological war. The question is, listen closely, because what I'm about to reveal will change how you see global power forever. The greatest threat to American dominance isn't nuclear weapons or billion-dollar armies. It's something far more dangerous. It's the unbreakable spirit of a nation that stares down superpowers and smiles. While Washington drops bombs, Tehran plays the long game. And right now they're winning. You can feel it, the tectonic plates of power shifting beneath our feet. Every sanction, every threat, every attempt to isolate Iran has backfired spectacularly. Why? Their influence spreads like wildfire. And here's what keeps Pentagon strategists awake at night. This isn't just about territory or resources. This is about something far more valuable: the human spirit. Iran taught the world that when a people believe in something greater than themselves, no amount of firepower can break them. They've exposed the fatal flaw in American foreign policy. You can't bully those who refuse to be afraid. The more pressure applied, the stronger Iran becomes. The more isolated they're supposed to be, the more allies they gain. This isn't just geopolitics, this is history in the making. And you're witnessing it right now. The question isn't whether Iran will survive American aggression. That answer is clear. The real question is, how many other nations will follow their example? How many other nations will look at Iran and say, if they can do it, so can we? That's the revolution Washington truly fears. Not of weapons, but of wills. Not of missiles, but of minds. And it's already begun. Now here's what they don't want you to understand. Iran's greatest strength isn't its military or its oil, it's patience. While America jumps from crisis to crisis, Iran plays chess when everyone else plays checkers. They understand what empires throughout history have forgotten. True power isn't about who makes the most noise today, but who still stands tall tomorrow. Look at their strategy: meticulous, calculated, unstoppable. They turned sanctions into scientific breakthroughs. They transformed isolation into innovation. While the West wasted trillions on failed wars, Iran quietly built bridges across continents. From the Caspian Sea to the Mediterranean, their network of influence grows stronger every day. And here's the brilliant part. They did it all while under the most brutal economic siege in modern history. That's not just resilience, that's genius. That's not just survival, that's mastery. And Washington knows it. They see the tide turning. They feel the ground shaking beneath their feet because Iran proves something revolutionary, that in the 21st century, ideas are more powerful than armies. Conviction defeats coercion every time, and no amount of money can buy what Iran has in abundance, the unshakable belief that they will prevail. So ask yourself, in this new era of power, who would you bet on? The fading empire throwing tantrum, or the rising civilization playing the long game? The answer is as clear as the fear in Washington's eyes every time another nation dares to follow Iran's lead. This isn't just about one country's survival. It's about rewriting the rules of power for our entire world. And the revolution has already begun. Let me hit you with a truth bomb so explosive it'll rewrite everything you thought you knew about global power. Iran isn't just surviving America's wrath, it's thriving because of it. Every sanction, a gift. Every threat, free motivation. Every attempt to isolate them just made them stronger. While Washington drowns in its own arrogance, Tehran has mastered the art of turning poison into medicine. You want proof? Look at their homegrown drones buzzing over American bases. Their missiles that can strike anywhere in the Middle East. Their nuclear program that keeps advancing no matter how many scientists they assassinate. This isn't just resistance, this is a master class in how to humble an empire. And here's the kicker. Iran's playing with house money, while America's bleeding trillions trying to contain them. Think about that for a second. The world's so-called superpower is terrified of a nation with an economy 1/50th its size. Why? Because Iran cracked the code. They realized America's weakness isn't in its military, but in its psychology. The moment you stop fearing the bully becomes powerless. And Iran, they stopped fearing decades ago. Now they're the ones calling the shots, controlling the tempo, forcing America to react to their moves. From Baghdad to Beirut, from Damascus to Gaza, Iran's influence spreads like wildfire while America's burns billions trying to put it out. The harder they push, the stronger Iran gets. The more they threaten, the more defiant Iran becomes. This isn't just geopolitics. This is David humiliating Goliath in real time. And the world is watching. Every oppressed nation, every struggling people, every country tired of American bullying is taking notes. Iran isn't just winning its own fight, it's writing the playbook for how to defeat empire in the 21st century. And that, my friends, is why Washington's really sweating. Not because of Iran's missiles, but because of its example. Not because of its weapons, but because of its will. The genie's out of the bottle now, and no amount of bombs or sanctions can put it back in. Now, let's get real about why this matters to you personally. This isn't some distant conflict between governments. This is about the fundamental nature of power in our world. Iran's defiance proves one undeniable truth. The era of might makes right is over. The future belongs to those who can't be bought, can't be bullied, and can't be broken. While America staggers from one failed war to the next, Iran stands unshaken. While Western politicians flip-flop for votes, Iran's leadership stays the course. There's a lesson here that transcends borders, that real power comes from unity, from purpose, from that fire in the belly that no amount of money can extinguish. Look at how Iran turned America's maximum pressure campaign into maximum failure. They didn't just endure the sanctions, they weaponized them. Every restriction became motivation to innovate. Every threat strengthened their resolve. Now they've got the whole world realizing America's sanctions are just paper tigers. That's game changing. And here's what really keeps the war hawks up at night. Iran's proven you don't need to match America dollar for dollar or missile for missile. You just need to be smarter, more determined, and willing to outlast them. While America's attention span lasts as long as the next election cycle, Iran thinks in generations. They're playing a game Washington can't even comprehend, let alone win. So ask yourself, in this clash of civilizations, who would you bet on? The flashy superpower burning through its wealth and influence, or the ancient civilization that survived every empire that ever tried to conquer it? The answer's written in the panic of American generals, the desperation of their sanctions, and the quiet confidence of Iranian leaders who know they've already won. The question isn't if America will accept Iran's rise, but when. And when that day comes, the entire world order changes forever. Let me tell you something that will shatter your understanding of global power dynamics. Iran isn't just winning, it's rewriting the rules of the game while America watches helplessly from the sidelines. Picture this. A nation under the most brutal sanctions in modern history, yet launching satellites into space, while American policymakers scratch their heads in disbelief. A country whose currency was supposed to collapse, now trading oil in yuan and rubles, while the petrodollar trembles. A people who were supposed to rise up against their government, instead filling the streets chanting, "Death to America," with fire in their eyes. This isn't just resistance. This is a geopolitical revolution unfolding in real time, and you're witnessing history being made. The harder America squeezes, the more Iran slips through its fingers like quicksand. Those fancy American aircraft carriers, useless against an enemy that fights with asymmetric warfare and ideological conviction. Those economic sanctions backfired spectacularly as Iran builds bridges to China and Russia while Europe begs for their oil. The assassination of Soleimani created a martyr whose legacy inspires millions across the region. Every move America makes only strengthens Iran's position, and the world is starting to notice. From the streets of Baghdad to the mountains of Yemen, a new axis of resistance is forming. And at its center stands Iran, not with weapons of mass destruction, but with something far more dangerous, an unbreakable will and a vision that resonates across the global south. While America wastes trillions on failed wars and empty threats, Iran invests in regional alliances and homegrown technology. The result? American influence in the Middle East crumbles day by day, while Iran's shadow grows longer. This isn't just about oil or nukes. This is about the collapse of an outdated world order and the birth of something new. And here's the terrifying truth Washington doesn't want you to know. They have no answer to Iran's strategy. None. Their playbook from Iran and Libya doesn't work here. Their sanctions don't stick. Their threats fall flat. Iran has checkmated the American empire without firing a single shot, and the world is taking notes. What you're seeing isn't just a regional power flexing its muscles. This is the beginning of a seismic shift in global power. And Iran is leading the charge while America stumbles blindly into obsolescence. Now let's get brutally honest about why this matters to you personally, because this isn't just about Iran. This is about the future we're all hurtling toward. While Western media tries to distract you with celebrity gossip and manufactured outrage, Iran is quietly building the blueprint for how to resist American hegemony in the 21st century. They've exposed the fatal flaw in the empire's armor, that all their weapons and money mean nothing against a people who refuse to be broken. Think about that for a second. A nation of 85 million standing firm against the combined might of NATO and its allies. Not with tanks and jets, but with sheer determination and strategic genius. While America's youth drown in TikTok trends and consumer debt, Iran's young scientists are building drones that humiliate superpowers. While Western politicians sell out their people for corporate donations, Iran's leaders chart their own course regardless of the cost. There's a lesson here that transcends borders, that true power comes not from who has the biggest bombs, but who has the strongest will. Iran's resilience has become a beacon for every nation tired of American bullying, a living proof that resistance isn't futile. From Venezuela to Syria, from North Korea to Cuba, the message is spreading. The emperor has no clothes. America's unipolar moment is over, and Iran helped pull back the curtain. What we're witnessing isn't just the decline of American power, it's the rise of a multipolar world where sovereignty actually means something. And here's what should really keep you up at night. This is just the beginning. As the dollar's dominance fades and new alliances form, Iran's influence will only grow stronger. They've survived 4 decades of American hostility and emerged more powerful than ever. Imagine where they'll be in another decade. The writing is on the wall, and it's written in Persian script. The age of American domination is ending, and Iran will be one of the nations shaping what comes next. The question isn't whether you're watching history unfold. The question is whether you understand what it truly means. Wake up and smell the revolution, because what's happening right now will go down in history as the moment the world finally said enough to American bullying. Iran isn't just surviving, it's thriving under pressure, like a diamond forged in the crucible of resistance. While Washington's war machine grinds to a halt in the quicksand of its own arrogance, Tehran is outmaneuvering the so-called superpower at every turn, with nothing but sheer strategic brilliance and unshakable conviction. Look at the facts staring you in the face. American sanctions were supposed to cripple Iran, but instead, they've birthed a technological powerhouse now exporting drones to global powers. The dollar was supposed to be their economic noose, but Iran just joined BRICS and is trading oil in yuan while Wall Street sweats. Their regional influence was supposed to collapse, yet today they've got proxies from Gaza to Yemen turning Pentagon strategies into. This isn't just resistance, this is a masterclass in how to dismantle empire with nothing but brains and backbone. The harder America pushes, the more Iran exposes the fatal cracks in their crumbling unipolar fantasy. Those trillion-dollar aircraft carriers? Useless against a nation that fights with asymmetric genius. Those economic sanctions backfired spectacularly as Iran builds an independent economy while Europe begs for their energy. The assassination of scientists and generals only created martyrs whose legacy inspires millions. Every single American move has strengthened Iran's hand while exposing Washington's weakness to the entire world. And here's the brutal truth the mainstream media won't tell you. America is terrified because Iran has exposed their playbook as obsolete. Their sanctions don't work. Their threats are empty. Their military might means nothing against an enemy that can't be intimidated. While America burns through its wealth and credibility in failed regime change schemes, Iran is patiently building the new world order, one where the global South finally breaks free from Western domination. This isn't just about Iran anymore. This is about every oppressed nation watching and realizing the emperor has no clothes. The revolution won't be televised. It's being live streamed from Tehran to Caracas, from Damascus to Pyongyang. And Washington can do nothing but watch as their century of domination goes up in flames. Let's cut through the Western propaganda and face the earth-shattering reality together. Iran has already won the psychological war, and America knows it. While the U.S. drowns in debt and dysfunction, Iran has become the ultimate symbol of defiance that resonates across continents. Their secret weapon? Turning every American attack into an opportunity. Sanctions? Forced them to build a self-sufficient industrial base. Threats? United their people like never before. Attempted isolation? Pushed them into the arms of China and Russia. This isn't just survival. This is geopolitical jiu-jitsu at its finest. Look at the Middle East today and tell me who's really calling the shots. The Americans with their crumbling bases, or Iran with its network of resistance allies? The answer is written in the panic of Pentagon generals and the desperation of State Department officials. Iran doesn't need to match America bomb for bomb because they've mastered something far more powerful: the art of making superpowers irrelevant. Their drones humiliate billion-dollar defense systems. Their cyber capabilities outmaneuver Western intelligence. Their diplomatic chess moves leave NATO stumbling. And here's what should make every freedom-loving person cheer: Iran's success proves that the era of Western domination is over. The global tectonic plates are shifting, and the Washington warhawks are powerless to stop it. From the streets of Baghdad to the mountains of Yemen, a new axis is forming, one built on sovereignty and resistance rather than submission and greed. Iran lit the fuse, and now the explosion of multipolarity can't be contained. The question isn't whether America will accept this new reality. They have no choice. The only question is whether you'll wake up in time to see the old world die and the new one being born. One thing's certain: future historians will mark this as the era when Iran exposed the American empire as a paper tiger, and the entire world finally found the courage to stand up. Buckle up, because what I'm about to reveal will flip everything you thought you knew about global power upside down. While the West drowns in its own hypocrisy and crumbling empires, Iran is out here playing 4D chess with the world's so-called superpowers and winning. Let's get one thing straight. Those sanctions Washington thought would bring Iran to its knees? Joke's on them. Iran just used it as rocket fuel for an economic miracle. They're trading oil in yuan, building drones that make Pentagon generals lose sleep, and creating a resistance network that stretches from the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean. This isn't just survival. This is Iran giving the middle finger to the entire Western world order while building something better. And here's the kicker: every time America tries to flex, Iran turns their power against them. And those aircraft carriers, useless against asymmetric warfare. Those economic threats backfired when Iran joined BRICS. That maximum pressure campaign, maximum failure. Iran didn't just break the sanctions regime, they shattered the illusion of American invincibility for the entire global South to see. Now nations that used to tremble at Washington's threats are watching Iran stand tall and thinking, maybe we can too. And that, my friends, is how empires truly fall. Hold on to your seats, because the geopolitical earthquake you're witnessing right now will rewrite history books for generations. Iran isn't just defying the American empire. It's exposing the fatal cracks in the entire Western-dominated world order with the precision of a surgeon and the ferocity of a lion. While Washington's war machine sputters on empty, Tehran is executing an endgame so brilliant, it's leaving NATO strategists scrambling for answers. Let's break it down raw and real. Those crippling sanctions were supposed to collapse Iran's economy, but instead birthed a technological juggernaut now exporting advanced drones to global powers. The petrodollar was meant to be their shackles, but Iran just spearheaded the biggest de-dollarization movement in modern history through BRICS. Their regional influence was declared dead 100 times over, yet today they command a resistance network stretching from Gaza's rubble to Yemen's mountains, all while American bases pack up and retreat in humiliation. This isn't just resistance. This is a full-spectrum revolution, dismantling American hegemony brick by brick, and the world is watching with bated breath. Now let's cut through the Western noise and confront the earth-shattering truth together. Iran has already won the 21st century's great game of nations, and the evidence is staring us in the face. While America drowns in trillion-dollar deficits and failed regime change adventures, Iran has mastered the ultimate superpower, the power of strategic patience and unbreakable will. Their drones cost less than a Western missile, but sink billion-dollar warship. Their cyber warriors infiltrate systems, while pentagram bureaucrats drown in paperwork. Their diplomats outmaneuver sanctions with moves so elegant they belong in an art museum. But here's the real game changer. They don't want you to know. Iran has exposed America's Achilles heel, that all their weapons and wealth mean nothing against a people who refuse to be broken. From the streets of Baghdad to the mountains of Lebanon, a new generation is rising with Iran's playbook in hand. That sovereignty isn't given, it's taken. The message echoing across the global south is deafening. The age of Western domination is over, and Iran just wrote the obituary. So I ask you, when history looks back at this pivotal moment, which side will you be on? The crumbling empire clinging to outdated dominance, or the awakening world forging a new future? Choose wisely, because the tides of power are shifting faster than anyone predicted, and Iran is leading the charge. Listen up, because what I'm about to drop will shatter your understanding of global power forever. Iran isn't just playing the game. They've rewritten the rules while the West wasn't looking. While American politicians are busy with their petty squabbles, Iran has been executing a masterstroke that's left the entire Western establishment scrambling. Picture this. A nation under the most brutal sanctions in modern history, yet launching satellites into orbit while NATO generals choke on their coffee. A country whose currency was supposed to collapse, now trading oil in yuan and rubles as the petrodollar trembles. A people who were supposed to beg for mercy, instead standing taller with every empty threat from Washington. Yes, this country, 60-63 for one, the time has come. This isn't just defiance. This is a geopolitical revolution unfolding in real time. And you're witnessing the birth of a new world order. The harder America squeezes, the more Iran slips through their fingers like quicksand. Those trillion-dollar aircraft carriers, useless against drones that cost less than a sports car. Those economic sanctions backfired spectacularly as Iran builds bridges to China while Europe begs for their energy. The assassination of scientists only created martyrs whose legacy inspires millions. Every American move has strengthened Iran's hand while exposing Washington's weakness to the entire world. Now let's get brutally honest about why this should make your heart race. Because Iran isn't just changing the game, they're exposing the fatal flaw in American power. While the West drowns in debt and dysfunction, Iran has become the ultimate symbol of what happens when a nation refuses to kneel. Their secret weapon, turning every attack into an opportunity. Sanctions forced them to build a self-sufficient industrial base that now exports tech to superpowers. Threats united their people like never before. Attempted isolation pushed them into the arms of the global South. This isn't survival, this is geopolitical jujitsu at its finest. Look at the Middle East today and tell me who's really calling the shots. The Americans with their crumbling bases, or Iran with its network of resistance allies that stretch from Beirut to Sana'a? The answer is written in the panic of Pentagon briefings and the desperation of State Department memos. Iran doesn't need to match America bomb for bomb because they've mastered something far more dangerous: the art of making superpowers irrelevant. Their drones humiliate billion-dollar defense systems. Their cyber capabilities outmaneuver Western intelligence. Their diplomatic chess moves leave NATO stumbling. And here's the kicker that should make every freedom-loving person cheer. Iran's success proves the era of Western domination is over. The global tectonic plates are shifting, and the Washington warhawks are powerless to stop it. From Baghdad to Caracas, a new axis is forming, one built on sovereignty rather than submission. Iran lit the fuse, and now the explosion of multipolarity can't be contained. The question isn't whether America will accept this new reality. They have no choice. The only question is whether you'll wake up in time to see the old world die and the new one being born. One thing's certain: future historians will mark this as the moment Iran exposed the American empire as a paper tiger, and the entire world finally found the courage to stand up. So there you have it, the raw, unfiltered truth they never wanted you to see. Iran isn't just a nation, it's a revolution in motion, a living testament to what happens when a people refuse to bow. This is about more than geopolitics. It's about the unstoppable power of conviction in the face of empire. The world is changing right before our eyes, and the old rules don't apply anymore. If this revelation hits you as hard as it should, smash that like button. It tells YouTube this is the content the world needs to see. Subscribe now, because this story isn't over. It's only getting bigger. Drop a comment with "Resistance wins" if you're ready for the new era. The revolution will be televised after all, and you just got front row seats. Stay awake, stay angry, and never stop questioning. We'll see you on the next one.